has to be the coolest intro into a podcast ever. Welcome to our podcast, The Algorithm Ate My Homework. My name's Nick, and we're going to talk about some different things today. I'll let everybody else go ahead and introduce themselves. We'll start from my left.
My name's Jeff.
I'm Kelsey.
My name is Dominic.
I was really waiting for, my name is Jeff.
Yeah, maybe if it was 2012.
Hey, I just dated myself. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Alright, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. Today we're going to be talking about the effects of olive population and how social media has really just like shifted our entire younger generation from TikTok feeds to YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and so many other platforms. It's really just changed our society as a whole. We just kind of wanted to talk and see what we hear in a way to see how all these specific topics change the way we think.
Yeah, and the question for that is, how does that constant digital shaping impact the brain, especially the developing brains of children and teens? That's what we'll unpack today. 2 and 1.
Alright, so let's start simple. When we talk about an algorithm, what are we actually talking about?
So, from what I understand, an algorithm is basically a set of rules or instructions that tell a computer how to solve a problem. On social media, for example, algorithms learn from your behavior, like what you click, what you like, and everything like that. If you stick on a short for an extended period of time, whatever content is on that is going to go into your algorithm, and then that content that you get that's what the algorithm is going to try to keep you engaged with.
Yeah, from what I'm reading as well, it's all about that engagement element, right? Like the more you're commenting, the more you're resharing and liking content, the more likely it is to keep recommending. And there's a hierarchy to it, right? It's not just that like a like is not the same as a comment. There's levels of engagement, and it's always trying to evaluate you based on that.
And that level of personalization is very powerful. It can make whenever you scroll feel so much nicer, smoother, faster, and feels like it's more tailored to you, which is why people love it. But on the flip side, the algorithm is customizing your feed, and it's shaping your habits as well as your moods and your opinions. It decides what it thinks is good for you and not what actually is good for you. And most of the time, you don't even notice it's happening.
Exactly. It's a constant feedback loop. Every single time we click on anything, like something, whatever it is, we're constantly feeding the social media algorithm data that honestly just leads to a personalized feedback source, I guess, of everything that it thinks we might like or want to see more of. So it's just crazy because, especially for the younger users whose brains are still forming, it's just kind of scary to see or think about what they might come up on.
And I mean, it's more than just social media, right? Like algorithms exist in pretty much everything we use on the internet today, whether it's searching on Google or looking up academic resources. I mean, the rise of AI and algorithms is just in every single product we use.
And going back to that looping action that Kelsey was talking about, on social media algorithms and mental health by the Associated Clinic of Psychology, it says reinforcement loops and negative mood algorithms amplify emotionally stimulating content, such as sensational news or idolized lifestyle posts, often leading to doom scrolling. So we all know doom scrolling is a huge waste of time. A few of us decided we would look at our interaction on our phone this morning, and mine is up to about 4 hours a day, which is
Wow.
no, that is not impressive. That is not a good thing. I don't know if Kelsey wants to share hers or not.
Mine is 7 hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
When do you have time to sleep?
Isn't that wild? You should check yours while we're in here.
You don't need to know how much time I spend on Instagram looking at hockey reels, man. Like, God.
I was actually planning on, I actually turned mine off because I'm scared to look at it because I know it's pretty high. So
I
make
had
sure
to
to
turn
turn
mine
that
back
feature off.
on to see what it was.
Oh god. No, and that article's great that you mentioned there, the topic of negativity in general. It's one of the ways that these algorithms try and keep you engaged. It's like it knows that negative content just drives that engagement up. It knows that it's going to get people, whether they're mad or they agree with it, as long as it's controversial, they're going to comment, they're going to share. And that's what they want. They just want you kept on the platform as long as possible, which can be really detrimental for kids who are already lacking impulse control.
So let's go ahead and move into our next section and talk about that.
No, yeah, as Nick was saying with the psychological elements, it's such a challenge, especially amongst younger users, which make up like 20-30% of most of these platforms, even more on stuff like Snapchat. So,
Yeah, it's just crazy because like I was doing my research and looking for my scholarly sources and everything, and I just found that social media algorithms are designed to trigger us emotionally and psychologically. According to critical factors in young people's use and non-use of AI technology, it just really talked about how nowadays young children are getting extremely overwhelmed with the things that they see through these algorithms on TikTok, Instagram, whatever it might be. And it's just overwhelming them with anxiety and depression, and it's just crazy because they have such a perception of an unrealistic life, and they set themselves up with just a failure because it's so unrealistic nowadays.
Absolutely, and I can speak from experience here. As the father of two kids, one is 11 and one is 13. My 13-year-old daughter will be entering high school next year, and she has had TikTok for the last year, and it has just absolutely delivered brain rot into her.
is the
brain.
number 6 and 7 band in your
Oh
house?
my god! So actually, 6, 7. Me and the wife, we took over that, so we say it all the time.
I like
So
it.
yeah, because whatever the adults like, the kids don't like.
Oh yeah.
So it was that little
Smart.
reverse
Making
psychology.
it uncool by association.
So the other day, my son Bryson, he was saying, he was needing to say 6 or 7, and he said 6 and that other number instead of 7 because he didn't want me to think that it was cool again.
I think parents around the world really need to adopt that.
Hey, I keep telling everybody at Buffalo Trace that that's what they need to do. But it is, on a serious note, it does develop a lot of depression in them, and you can see that within my daughter. A lot of kids get on there and they see their friends posting things of them doing stuff with other people, and then they feel left out. So while social media is supposed to make you feel connected, sometimes it makes you feeling more lonely, which can set in that depression and everything like that.
Yeah, no, and on those psychological issues that can kind of arise, I was actually reading this op-ed from the Stanford Journal. It's called A Psychiatrist's Perspective on Social Media Algorithms and Mental Health. And basically these two clinical psychiatrists, I think one of them does actually specialize in children specifically, you know, they were just talking about the general effects that they're seeing actively in their field, right? Because they're, you know, one of the major stakeholders at the forefront of these issues where they're actively seeing it in the patients that they're admitting. You know, social media kind of giving them that unrealistic expectation that Kelsey talked about earlier, and that general just like anxiety. And I know from personal experience being an athlete, the anxieties that can come, you know, when you're constantly judging yourself against your peers, and social media is
We actually did a project on this at the beginning of the semester. Mine was actually on the gym body trend, and it's basically about how influencers will say, hey, if you do my workout, if you eat like me, then you're gonna end up looking like me. So people will see these things, and then it'll create an illusion that if you eat like them and like do all this stuff like them, then the results are guaranteed, when in reality it's really not. Yeah, and influencers could be using like different performance enhancing drugs. They could be using many different things that they don't talk about, but people see this and be like, hey, I want to be just like this, and then they'll go train super hard, and they go get those goals, and they'll become depressed, and then they'll feel almost worthless. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, on that topic, I kind of did the same thing for mine, because I was talking about how my algorithm on my feed or whatever is about young parents that live in these like huge houses and have all this money and
Like the Mormon
Um,
mom thing.
yes, kind of. Well, it's like the Southern mom like
Oh, okay,
figure
okay,
thing.
Yeah.
And on this property and with like they're like super young and I'm just like I want that, but I mean I don't have any money, I don't have a job right now, so it's just like such an unrealistic idea of what life is like, but really it's only certain people and it just never happens. So I mean I can see how these young kids are getting so overwhelmed and like just insane.
And that's one of the worst parts of these algorithms is they really create this like illusion of like variety. I was in my original project at the start of this year, it was on kind of how social media can shape your identity. And one of the papers I read actually referenced this idea of curation bubbles, where it's not like you're just listening to one influencer or one person constantly. It's 7, 8, 9, like multiple individuals all kind of saying the same thing. It's giving you this illusion that everybody around you is on this trend. I mean, it creates this idea that your influences, your activities that you enjoy in your day are everyone's favorite activities. And that can really be detrimental to kids who are kind of trying to figure themselves out in this social hierarchy that stuff like middle and high school is.
Yeah, so on that filtering bubbles and stuff like that, I read this piece on, it was a thesis written by Angelica Singer at the Pennsylvania State University. And the filter bubbles really kind of put you into a specific group, and you constantly see the same thing like Jeff's talking about here. And it's not always a good thing. And it's once you're in that bubble, it's very difficult to pop. So she says in her article, it says once the user is in the bubble, it's very difficult to pop. Filter bubbles are personalized algorithms that narrow and personalize content to a user's engagement over time. So it's totally true. And all of those, once you get into that bubble, and you're just seeing the same thing over and over, you really kind of can get, you can get into like an extremism type situation. So depending on what the content you're looking at, and that's not just for little kids, that's for everybody, right? So I think it's very important to get outside of that as much as possible and just have actual conversations with people instead of, living on social media. So Kelsey, 7 hours a day. I mean, I really,
7 hours of Southern Moms is a lot.
Listen, there's a lot you can learn. Okay?
I agree. But is it all, good things that you need to be learning while you could spend your time doing other things like coming to Buffalo Trace for a tour? Come on, guys.
or going to a midnight game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the effects of learning, when you're constantly switching from one video to another, your brain never really shuts off or like gives itself time to focus on one thing. Let's just talk about kind of the like neuro.
Yeah, the old shortened attention span.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, like even with scrolling TikTok and stuff, like yes, it's good for a little bit, but we do, like he said, need to go outside and learn for ourselves and just really get into the moment and understand what we're actually supposed to be learning about.
Agreed.
I do think, honestly though, in any like true analysis of how algorithms are impacting our lives, especially when it comes to kids, we do need to look at the use cases for them that are positive. Because there's a double-edged sword to everything, right?
Is there?
Hold on. No, but like, okay, how many people in here use Google every day?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's the first place we go for our research, right? Like,
Yep.
the Google search. That is an algorithm. Hell, Google's, their industry is literally, the department that runs search is search algorithm. Because it's important. It's filling in the blanks to get us to our content quicker. How many people use autocorrect here?
Every day.
Dang it,
Every
Jeff.
day. That's
You're making
a
really
use
good
ca-
points, bud.
It's a use case for algorithms because it's a chain filling in what you're trying to do next. It's trying to guess in the same way that social media is trying to guess what you're going to want to watch next. And I mean, like, with the billions and billions and billions of hours of content, most of which is completely and totally either false or disruptive or, like, just degenerate. Do we really want to have to sift through it all ourselves?
No, but so I get what you're saying, and you really threw a curveball at me because I do think that some algorithms are useful. Like you said, Google autocorrect because I don't know how to spell anything, so I'm very thankful for that. However, when it comes to social media algorithms, let's talk about those specifically. Okay, where they get you and get you to continue to consume media all day long for 7 hours, it's just really not healthy. And especially to get you trapped in that same thing, looking over and over and over, you can't expand your mind as much as you could be able to. So the mind is a terrible thing to waste, and what we're doing is wasting it on social media.
I think I can concede to some of that.
Okay.
I think I concede. And I mean, that makes sense. Like any controversial topic, there's going to be some middle ground that we need. Like, we need these things in certain aspects, but the predatory nature, specifically on social media, is kind of brutal. I was reading an article on the Bipartisan Policy Center. It's pros and cons of social media algorithms, and it's kind of just going through the general policy points that a lot of the politicians around us are trying to do, and the regulations that they're trying to employ. And, like, honestly, as of right now, it seems like the whole area is just a free-for-all of whatever you can do to keep people on. And clearly something needs to change. I don't know if you guys have any general thoughts or ideas on some of those things that can be changed.
That can be changed.
Yeah.
You would have to regulate stuff, but I don't know the best way to do that, really. What do you guys think? Government put into your freaking social media?
I mean, there's that, like, the EU just did the thing where you need to, like, sign in with ID to places.
Then I don't want to do
Yeah,
anything that they
it's
do because this
crazy.
is America. Okay?
Or even like they have access to everything. Like they have like the
Oh, yeah.
government.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Google. They have access to everything. Your credit cards, the stuff in, like in your shopping, whatever it is. Like they know everything.
So I will say this, just talking about the social media piece and everything and how bad and everything that it is. So the social media that we get here is completely different than that in China.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was in Guangzhou, China, and I lived there for about 9 months. And the social media there is all about education and it's like good things. It doesn't have anything to do with this stupid TikTok dance and everything like that. The stuff here is just absolute brain rot. Now, am I saying that we need to go full government on it and everything like that? Like, no, probably not, because I enjoy freedom. But there's got to be something that we can do. And I really hate to say it, I probably shouldn't have let my kids do social media because there are age requirements and stuff like that. But nobody listens to them because it's just it's an easy way to pacify the kid for a little while. Like it's a babysitter. It's a built-in babysitter.
But I will say, I mean, it's that classic case of if you do just straight up deny technology to these kids, which if you have any form of technology you can get on social media, it's not hard. There's
Right.
no way to restrict it once you have access. But if you take away technology in general, like, they will use it. They will find a way because that's what kids always have done. I snuck out as a younger kid. Like,
Right.
everyone does. We all do things we're not supposed to do. So there's not, like, banning these things, unfortunately, just isn't going to work out.
And so also I think like talking about taking the technology away from them, that really kind of stunts their progression too, because if all of their friends are, using an iPad and they understand how it all works and everything like that, they are going to have an easier time in high school, college, different things like that than your kid is, because they don't know the shortcuts. They don't know the easier ways to, use the technology and everything. Even as a grown adult, like I've been out of technology for so long that it's difficult to jump into college and, you know, be able to do all this stuff. Like you guys are way ahead of me on that because of how long you guys have been using technology.
Yeah, and this might be honestly the crux of the solution here is just more education on how these things work, what they're trying to do, how to use them as a tool and not a 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, like brain rot. And I mean, like, honestly, like you're saying, like technology is such an important part of daily life nowadays that we should be teaching our kids at a young age how to use these tools, what they are, what they're for. Because, I mean, dude, some of the things like my niece who's like 6 years old knows already is insane. Clearly they can handle the information. They're not gonna not understand. Like they are, even like you're saying, like with the technology being like you're from an older generation, so it's a little hard. Dude, some of the technology coming out is hard for me to understand.
Yeah.
And I work at Best Buy.
If it's
It's
hard,
my job.
if it's hard for you, just think about for me.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is kind of sounding like an addiction or something.
Yeah, so I actually checked out this YouTube source. It's called How Social Media is Ruining Your Life. And it basically just talks about how social media is basically just that addiction with algorithms keeping you in the loop. And it makes it almost as if you can't stop scrolling. And the only way, well, we actually talked about how we can look at it in like the bigger picture on how we can stop this and how we can prevent this much damage being done with scrolling and with the algorithms. But something that you can do on your own is you can reduce your screen time by downloading different apps. There's
You can also set a limit on your phone.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I realized mine was at 7 hours, I set a screen time limit for TikTok. So I think
Yeah.
that's also a really good idea for, like, solutions and
What
stuff.
did you set it to?
2 hours.
That's gonna be difficult. I don't think I could do that.
2 hours is still a long time.
And then even for you, like you can, well, it's kind of hard with social media, and like we talked about it earlier about how technology, you need it, and it's just gonna keep advancing. So if you don't get on it, then you're gonna fall behind. But even, I think there's like passcodes you can set on iPhone. Once you hit like reach a certain time, they can't do it, so like completely lock their phone for you.
My
Yeah.
parents did that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different just what's the word?
Like
I'm just gonna kind of
limitations?
list this out. Yeah, there's a lot of limitations you can set with different phones.
Yeah, I've tried that with my kids, and when it locks them out, they just come to me and they're like, "Can you put in your passcode?" And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, all right." Here.
Me and my sister figured out what the password is.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's crazy.
So I get notifications. My son knows what it is, so
Oh.
I get notifications when it gets extended,
Yeah.
and of course I see it, and I'm just like, "All right, whatever."
Fine. I give up.
All right, so I kind of agree with Jeff here on this. So algorithms aren't inherently bad. They're just tools, but they're powerful ones. The key is making sure that we shape them more than they shape us.
Yeah, and like Nick was saying earlier, I think it is that understanding piece of what they are, how they work, and why they're trying to do what they're trying to do that's really important here. And kind of like what Dom was saying, that analogy of like algorithms as an addictive substance, I thought was really powerful.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is. It's crazy how addicting we are to our phones and just to scroll whenever we're bored or whatever it is. But overall, I think it kind of is overwhelming at times. Like, especially for the younger generation, it's overwhelming. It can create anxiety about the future or comparison issues too. So it's just
100%.
scary.
And I think that's going to wrap up today's podcast. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on our Instagram, Snapchat, and Buffalo Trace. All right.